Hello, I'm Meredith with the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center. And tonight I am together with Yolanda, who is also with the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center. She also runs a healing center in Naples called the Inner Light Healing Center. And our topic tonight has to do with healing. It has to do with protecting yourself against negative energy. Yolanda, it's great to be with you. And there's a lot of negative energy out there, isn't there? And we never know when it's going to hit us. I mean, that's what I see. Is it could be in the supermarket. You could even be taking a walk, or it's out there. And I think my first question with you, and it's not really an interview, we're having a conversation tonight, but since you're the expert, my first question has to do with, how does it manifest itself, this energy? What exactly is this energy?
Yes, lovely to be with you, Meredith. So it is true, at the moment, the world is so full of disturbance and an energy that is not in harmony. And whenever someone thinks something or perceives something, it creates an energy field, right? And that energy field for some people can be very sensitive. So you could be in a supermarket and somebody next to you, you can just sense that person is really in a negative state or very sad, or any emotion. When you are sensitive, you can pick it up. And so it is true. I feel for myself, I use the methods to look at the situation and not making it my own. Yeah. So an energy of compassion and love, so that I don't stay centered in the disharmony of my environment.
That's interesting, because so you are really, your way of just protecting yourself, because we in a way have to protect ourselves, don't we? Like we do, whether we're traveling, we often get travel insurance or home insurance. We're insuring ourselves. So so that we don't get affected by something that happens. So what I'm thinking about with you is that you're insuring yourself. And that's really what we do in meditation with our spiritual teachings and everything, is to insure ourselves before we actually get affected by the negative energy.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you're correct. And I love the example that you take. You have an insurance, so you need to make sure that your own insurance is your ability to stay centered in the true self. So if we become a kind of victim, is a heavy word, but you know what I mean. If we become a victim of the external environment, situations that we are in, for myself, I always think, okay, this is a challenge. Can I immediately come back? And how long does it take until I am back in my own center, rather than getting exposed, but not only that, affected by the other person or by an external situation? So it always comes first back to the self. So my insurance is how I react on external circumstances, or if something dwells up in me, is it perhaps a trigger point that, sometimes in life you could meet someone that looks like somebody that you had difficulties with way back. It could be as a child. And immediately your thought could be, I need to protect myself. Not because that person has done anything. So in this case, the trigger point comes from inside of you towards the outer world. And it's the same. I have to really check myself. How can I shift, check and change this trigger point in me that really has nothing to do with the situation I am in right now? I just have created it in my own mind.
So it really has to do with that we are responsible for how we feel and what energy it is that we're experiencing within us and actually sending out to others. We're the responsible ones. So what you're saying, and again, I think it is part of what we learn and what we study, is it's not about blaming others. Or I know I had an experience in the supermarket a few months ago where before everybody was really understanding how important masks were, and somebody commented that I shouldn't be wearing a mask, I must be sick. And that was before, it became so, really publicized how important masks are. And I found myself getting very offended, and I could feel that my energy just dropped, like it went, because I was thinking, what right does she have to say that to me? Because I believed at the time that masks were good, maybe not at the very beginning, but well into, somewhat into the whole COVID and everything. And so what happened to me was I reacted to what she said, and I didn't even know this person. And I because I've been practicing for a long time, I do try to work on myself and how I behave and not say anything that's not right to somebody else or hurt someone. But I could feel it in my own body. I could feel that reaction. And that reaction was, in a sense, I was blaming someone else. And I think, again, that's really something that we need to be aware of, that when there is somebody that does something that you just are not pleased with and you heavily disagree with. And I think this happens a lot. It could happen, like you said, it could happen anywhere, work, with the family, whatever. You have to be aware of how you respond and not, I know for myself, and not react.
Yes, totally. I agree. And also, another point I wanted to make is that we have to be conscious of the idea that we don't create diversity in our own mind. I always try to stay in, if I feel something, it always has to come back to uniting myself with that other person. So if I feel my own soul and I can see that spark of beautiful light in the other person, then the energy can really become into a harmonious relationship with that other person. But if I only see the disturbance or the disharmony or the sadness in someone else, then I have become that emotion. And so I have to be really conscious when we stay in our soul awareness and see the other in the same way, then that own inner sinking of energy or losing energy will disappear. And in fact, you become at that time a real lovely person that can actually create a harmonious energy for others and an energy with love and support.
So before anything happens, before any of this negativity or negative energy comes up, it's you're already ahead of the game because you're ready for it, in a sense. You're ready, not ready for negativity, but you're in a state of love. You're in a state of, maybe that you don't feel love for everybody, because love is a pretty powerful word. And I don't know if everybody, and I know myself, I'm not necessarily able to feel that love for everybody, but I'm working on it. I feel that I like everybody, but love is a very, it takes you to another level. But to be able to like everybody and respect everybody. And if someone does say something to you, or someone treats you a certain way, or something's going on, I'm sitting here thinking that listening to what the person has to say, in, as you say, in that consciousness, soul consciousness, which is, we're looking at everybody as family, we're looking at everybody as brothers and sisters, but listening so that I hear what it is that person might be saying or doing, and understanding that wherever they're coming from that's their way, that's who they are. And it doesn't mean that I have to buy into whatever it is they believe, even if it's something that I don't accept or I don't believe. This is a very important thing when it comes to energy. The more that I think about it, as we're sitting here talking, that we just really have to be, it's a constant process, isn't it? A constant effort, not to make a big deal about it. Oh, this is so difficult. It's actually quite easy, isn't it, Yolanda? The more we work like this.
Yes, and I love the way you say to be present. Yeah, when you listen, you're very present. And whenever you are with someone who is really present, it always feels good, right? So immediately, even if somebody has their emotional story to share, if you're very present and you listen and you understand and you're compassionate, at that moment, you already have a healing energy towards the other person. So listening, you are right, Meredith, listening and being present is already a very good state to be in, even in this world that is so speeding up, right?
It's a beautiful concept and I love it. And I know that I'm working on it. And yet it is a challenge because I think we get tested. We get tested with maybe people that are on a completely different wavelength than we are, or say something, as I was saying earlier, that we just can't accept. So what I'm thinking is that we do have to be, you know, it's like the self-monitoring where I'm just watching myself and saying, okay, let me be on my best spiritual behavior. You know, like you're going to the greatest party or event, you'd be on your best behavior, right? You would really just try to be very up and enthusiastic and you know, in a really good mood. And I think that if we can get ourselves into that state every day, which leads us to the idea of meditation, how that gives us the power to be able to be in that state of, as you're saying, acceptance and compassion and kindness.
Yeah, I think the state of morning, I always have my meditations, of course.
Yeah.
We do it as a practice in Raja Yoga meditation. But before you get out of the door, I always had this practice, even with our child, to just look at him in a moment and make contact with his soul and also with mine. And it's like nearly to give the positive energy before you get out of the door. Right? And then I had one practice that I used to do, that was saying to myself, if I would go to the city or I had an event or something, I would say to myself, I'm in love with everybody.
Ah.
And that always felt so unconditional. I'm in love with everybody. And that's not emotional love. I'm talking about really this, what you just mentioned a moment ago, that higher conscious love, that unconditional love. And that could come out as joy. It doesn't need to be so serious, right? We can have that love with a joy radiating out of us and a sort of embracing whatever is and whatever comes. I just embrace it and try not again to be in a judgment, right? Just stay very much into that own energy.
Good word, not to be in judgment, because as soon as we start judging others and we look at them and say, they're not like me, as soon as we separate ourselves from others. Oh, I like this person because, you know, they dress like me, or they look similar to, you know, what I'm used to, or they smile like, you know, I like their smile. As soon as we start to do that, we separate, don't we? We just put up a barrier immediately. And so this whole idea of what the Brahma Kumaris, you know, as the basis of the teachings has to do with soul consciousness, as we're talking about, and seeing everybody as light. And then from there, we can seeing everybody as souls. From then we can have that love and that compassion. And I think would be really nice now, since we're talking about meditating and we are the organization that is believes in, you know, meditation over, you know, first, or I was going to say there's spiritual knowledge that's part of the Brahma Kumaris and meditation, but often it starts with getting into that state, right? That state of, to me, meditation is the protection against the negativity that's out there and in here. So Yolanda, why don't you do a few minutes of meditation with us?
Thank you, Meredith. I will. So if we just sit nice and straight and feel that we are in a space of peace inside of ourselves, and let's just take a deep breath in. And then very slowly exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now just for a moment, check yourself. Where are you? What are you feeling? Can you just in this moment create in a second an energy of peace? Just start letting go of anything that is not peace. Now visualize that within you there is this light energy. So just visualize this pure white energy, as if you're sitting in a bubble or a cocoon of this white energy. It feels safe. It feels that you're completely protected and that nobody or nothing can enter your cocoon. There is this beautiful sense of harmony, of peace, of love. Just absorb it, become it. And then remain in this sense of peace as you slowly come back to the present moment. And keep that light, that sense of harmony and peace with you as you go about your day.
Om Shanti, Yolanda. That was beautiful. I feel a lot different already. You and I have been meditating for a long time. And I personally don't think I realized at the time when I started so many years ago how useful this meditation practice and how important this practice would be in my life and to help me along and to really keep me on this path and make sure that I'm not buying into or absorbing negative energy. And hopefully I'm, because I'm working on it, and I know you are as well, working on getting beyond negative energy and just really spreading positive energy and love, as you said, and goodness and kindness to everybody that we meet, not just for a select few, not just for a few people in our life or the people that we like, but for everyone. And that's, I think that we believe, I know we believe that this is how the whole world is going to change. Imagine if we could all be on that state and we were all working together on this. Imagine, right? As John said many years ago. So we thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you'll be with us again with the Brahma Kumari's meditation conversations with friends during the week at 7:30 p.m. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.